So yes, I got current with One Piece, and I also forgot to shoot an intro part of this video, so this is after the journey that you're about to see. Can you believe it? We did it. I mean, just think back. It has been a long road.
You read the title right. I finally got around to finishing the first box set of One Piece. Incredible. I really do. I think it's one of the most creative worlds that I've read, truthfully. Even in 2021, first time reading it, we go through an emotional roller coaster. Like, I was almost brought to tears 2 times in that arc. Might have read way too much into that, but it hit me in that way. That was really relatable for this manga and this fiction. It was really relatable in that way. Of just this character that came off as he didn't care, but deep down he just wanted somebody to want him. Joy Boy has returned. Son of a bitch. Listen, I don't curse on this channel, so I'm gonna bleep that. But me, Luffy's Joy Boy.
So yeah, let's talk about One Piece.
Chapter 1058. Here's the thing, Luffy is an Emperor of the Sea. That doesn't mean that he is still not getting beaten up by Nami. He is in this cage because he took, the ship and jumped over. The funny part is Frankie was like, hey, but did you see? Ship barely took a beating. Hey, did you see the way a ship took that fall? Listen, I'm pretty good at my job. But also, we have the new bounty numbers for everybody. And technically, everybody went up. I have them right here because I just kind of want to read them off so I don't get the numbers mixed up. Chopper went up 100 berries, He's at a cool 1,000. Killing it. Nami is at 366 million. Brooke is at 383 million. Frankie, who they put a picture of the 1,000 Sunny on it, is at 394 million. God Usopp, who's like, please, God, please, keep the number. Just stop going up. He's at 500 million. Here's the thing. Nico Robin's bounty, 930 million. But I'm guessing that maybe they learned about her, devil transformation. I'm guessing that's kind of why it's up that much. Then 4th place is, Sanji, 1.032 billion bounty. Number 4, it's very key. It's going to get to a good payoff joke here in a minute. Jinbei is at 1.1 billion. Number 2, Zoro is at 1.111 billion. And then, obviously, Luffy is at 3 billion. You guys know, I love Sanji and Zoro. When Zoro goes, who cares what 4th thinks? And then they are fighting in the background as Luffy is in the cage. And then Zoro's just like, how dare you disrespect number 2, the 2nd. Oh, it's so good. I love that Sanji keeps getting below Zoro. And now he even has Jinbei in the middle of them two now. The joke is well worth it. But the other things that happen, because this is definitely that setup chapter a lot of arcs get, right? We go into the Cross Guild, which we learned about in Wano. Come to find, man, this is why I love Buggy, right? That dude is tripping through life and tripping into trouble. Technically, Crocodile and Mihawk kind of came up with them joining forces, and Buggy owed Crocodile money, but they thought Crocodile was saving him. He has the worst, best luck. He's a clown, and it's he is tripping through life fantastically. But Crocodile lended him money, and he had to pay him back. So he was like, I'll be your gopher thing. I'll just run errands for you and stuff. And they told him about it, or he overheard it, and he was like, hey, I know people in print advertising. Listen, you're gonna have to make a big splash. Dude, it's like Don Draper from Batman. You're gonna have to make a big splash. I got a guy. I'll set it up. The problem is his guys think he is a god, so they put him front and center with the Cross Guild. And Crocodile was real mad about it, But Mihawk made the great point, right? He's like, dude, this is perfect. If we ever get too much heat on us, he can take the fall. They think Buggy literally has the Marines, the Navy, everyone convinced that he is this mastermind when he is honestly just tripping through everything. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. But we get that backstory of the Cross Guild, and then the last thing that we find out in this chapter is what I think is going to be, especially with you guys in the comments. I'm going to be honest with you. I really appreciate you pointed out to me. The Cobra is from Alabaster. It's the king. Vivi's dad. I completely forgot about this. Listen, I've been reading a lot of One Piece, for the last year and a half. I have forgot. That's on me. But you guys, again, are always the best. I really wholeheartedly appreciate every single one of you that doesn't take it as like, actually, you guys really are just like, listen, no, we get it. There is so much information. We understand. I appreciate that. Thank you. But so the biggest thing going on is the Sabo. Is he being framed for the murder? Did he actually do it? And we actually are brought to Koala and Dragon. And they are talking to Kuma. And like, Kuma, what did you see? And then the snail rings. And it's Sabo. And that is how we end this chapter. I think this is one of the best setup chapters you can do for the story that Oda is going to try to tell in this final arc. There are so many moving parts, and I cannot wait. It feels like this culmination of all of these characters that we have been following for 1,000+ chapters. So yeah, let's get to 1059. Chapter 1059. Okay, so in this chapter, I really liked two things about it. One, it actually really didn't focus on Luffy and them. It actually did like a flashback of weeks before with Boa Handcock, Blackbeard, Koby. Silver's Rayleigh shows up because Blackbeard attacks Amazon Lily and grabs Boa Handcock. And he's like, I've always wanted your power. Silver's Rayleigh. Let me tell you, this dude comes in here with so much like gusto. And he's like, listen, just turn everybody back to stone, because we really actually got to see Boa Handcock use her devil fruit power and turns all of Blackbeard's subordinates into stone. She also turns Koby's subordinates into stone as well. That's very true. Because the Marines are also there. But it was just so much fun to watch Boa Handcock. And she didn't back down from Blackbeard. Like, that was really cool, too. But during this battle, they introduce, I'm pretty sure, maybe we've heard about it in passing, but we really get to see Pacifist. I'm pretty sure it's Pacifist. Help me out in the comments down below if that's not how you pronounce it. But it's like this young girl. I think they said there's two of them. This young girl, let me tell you, this young girl comes in here and boy, does she wreck shop. 100% just wrecks shop on everybody. But the Gorgon sisters, look at me. I'm pulling names, I'm remembering things, I'm becoming like, hey, listen, I got this shirt. I can't, not pull names most of the time. But they say it reminds them of their sister when she was young. Is this Vagabond like Dude? Because, hold on. I thought of this just now. And that goes to the second thing that I really liked. Marco mentions, like, Ace would be proud if he could see you now, Luffy. Here, listen to me. Listen to me so well. Come closer. If we get a bad reincarnation like version of Ace, no, I'm not for that. Listen, I am not for that, okay? Unless, man, think about it. Unless the bad version at the end, like, finds its heart and we get, like, a second Ace. I'm still not okay with that. Like, Ace is Ace. Don't touch Ace. I don't think that they would do that. But with the sisters saying that it reminded them of their younger sister, it does kind of leave you wondering, are they creating these like humanoid things? And I could be completely, misreading into this, right? You guys, again, we could talk in the comments down below, but I could totally be reading too much into this. They did kind of mention like Ace's name. Listen, anytime they mention Ace's name, I'm looking for clues. You know, I'm out there searching. But the main topic of this chapter was definitely Boa Handcock showing off her skills and showing that she didn't back down from Blackbeard. And I think that's what makes her such like a really great character of One Piece, is because she could have came off right in her trajectory, and she does say, I wish I was just married to Luffy. They're like, you wish that every moment of your life. Come on, get it together. They do have that running joke, but Boa Handcock could have absolutely been, especially with her Devil Fruit power of the eye, like turning people into stone. The Gorgon eye, Medusa's, what's her Devil Fruit? It's like the stone fruit. Stone fruit, maybe? Doesn't matter. But she could have came off as a character of like, I'm this hot character and no depth to her, but I really like that Oda sometimes puts bits and pieces in scenes with her that there's a reason that she runs Amazon Lily. And even Blackbeard says that, like, oh, so that just wasn't a title that they gave you, like there's something to that. And I thought that was a really nice addition to Boa Handcock's character. The last thing, though, after Silver Israeli goes in there and with the gravitas says, I'll mediate the situation. But he even says, like, listen, if it would have went sideways, I don't think at my age I could have handled Blackbeard, to be honest with you. But after all that, we are ending. Koby's been kidnapped by Blackbeard. Whew! I'm glad Koby is coming back into the story. Think about how full circle that is, right? We're in the final stretch of the arc for however long Koby was in the first arc. And like you gotta think about it. Remember, Koby was Luffy's first friend that he made on his adventure. And it's kind of full circle moment that he's coming back into the story. Hopefully in a big way. We will see as we go on to chapter 1060. Chapter 1060. Okay. Well, all right. Oh, I was gonna sit back and like talk to you like a normal human being, but we're gonna get up close. I really just want to pick up this camera and sling it around the room. To be honest, what is Luffy's dream? Did I just skip it? Did I somehow miss a panel or something? Because he tells the Straw Hats, he's like, oh, I've never told you. I must have just told like Shanks, Sabo, Ace about my dream after being King of the Pirates. That's at the end of my dream. And everyone's kind of laughing, and Chopper and Nami are like, oh, that's such a great dream. Did I miss that? Did I have a panel? Or are we not supposed to know? You know, like, is it like, oh, what could it be? Because what could honestly be Luffy's end goal? If King of the Pirates, right, is kind of like the dream that we had thought he had been following, which I'm absolutely still is his dream, right? But what's the promise that he made to Sabo? Sabo said that he kind of wanted to write a book, like travel the world, write a book, right? What would Luffy's goal or promise be for something like that? Like, you think it's something as simple as like seeing everything, like seeing the world? Or do you think it's more, Luffy would not be that type of character to be like, I wish I could bring everyone together, right? Like, obviously, I think he's doing that throughout his adventure. He is bringing together countries and islands that would never have any connection except for the Straw Hats. Like, we've seen that already through just his adventure. He is connecting the world. We definitely saw it at the Riviera, right? So we have seen the impact that Luffy and Straw Hats have had, but I don't think that's his dream. Because they wouldn't laugh at that. You know what I mean? They have to laugh at something that is silly. Because even Jinbei says, you know, ooh, hi, I'm already on this ship, but I am stuck with a captain. You know what I mean? Like, so that's not something that the Straw Hats would laugh at. That's very noble. So I am really curious about what his end dream is once. Because I'm going to be completely honest, I haven't even thought about what he does after being King of the Pirates. Like, that hasn't even crossed my mind because we've been on this journey for so long that, you know, you're just like, that's the goal, right? It kind of ends when that happens. There was never any thought in my mind of like what happens after that. So it's really a good breadcrumb Oda is leaving there, starting off this final arc. The second thing The empty throne never existed? Listen, there was a lot going on. Liliusa? Maybe? Got exploded? Because Sabo was on Liliusa, and he said he went to see the giant empty throne that we had seen during the Riviera arc, and he said it never existed, but I saw it. How can it not? I saw it, like with my eyeballs, on the page. It was there. Doesn't exist. Island gets exploded, obviously. The Navy did that, or the Elders did that. Like, I saw the empty throne on the page. You're gonna tell me it doesn't exist, Sabo? This is what you're telling me right now? Doesn't exist. Okay. What? This was a chapter of nothing but questions, because we have a third and final question that was posed in chapter 1060. Bonney was in a giant water typhoon ball that Zoro one sword style slashed, and she comes falling out as a child, which is part of her devil fruit powers. I do understand that. What's she doing in the middle of the sea in a giant water ball, falling out? Chapter 1060 was a great read. It confused me, but it excited me. It did a lot of things, and I have to go read chapter 1061. Hopefully it makes some sense. Dude, you can always tell an arc is starting in One Piece because Oda has been magnificent in doing this, leaving breadcrumbs to be answered later on in the arc. He's always done that, and he does such a great job. And if this is any inkling, we're what, 3 chapters in to the next arc, and he is already leaving so many interesting breadcrumbs, because it's like I said in the last video, it's so good to, while I really enjoyed my time in Wano, it is coming past. Like, let's go out into the world, let's see what's going on in the world of One Piece. And Robin makes this comment, so much stuff has developed so quickly out there in the world of One Piece, and I cannot wait to read more of it. Did you like that turnaround? Like, oh, you guys are here. That's crazy. Chapter 1061. We find out who Dr. VegaPunk is. It kind of reminds me of like the humanoid android thing from the previous chapter. Like a little bit. They look a little similar. But she is in a giant robot. I actually thought for a second, I was like, Frankie, but it says VegaPunk and it has a 12 on it. So I was like, oh, it's definitely not Frankie, because their ship capsizes. Bonney, Chopper, Jinbei, and Luffy actually get pulled off the ship and onto Egghead Island, which is a military island. And actually, we get to see a little bit of Tashigi Mocha, I think. Pretty sure. If you remember from Punk Hazard, it's the giant children. And we actually get to see a little bit of Helmeppo too, begging people to go to this Egghead Island, because that is where Koby is being held. Here's my question. VegaPunk, is she good? Because when Frankie's like very starstruck again by a giant robot, and she goes, oh, whoa. Who said anything about saving you guys? Like, who? It wasn't me. I didn't say that. So is Dr. VegaPunk good? Because here's the thing. They look, you know, innocent enough, but that's, something's going on there. Like, you don't make, because they make the Seraphims, maybe. And you're not all good, right? Like, you make something like that, if One Piece and media has taught us anything, you don't trust a like doctor that creates monsters, quote unquote. Dr. Frankenstein taught us this. You guys, Dr. Frankenstein, right? But besides all that happened in this chapter, there's actually one very key little moment that got me interested, right? That got me thinking, I guess is the best way to put that. Bonney, or Boggy, according to Luffy, asks, hey man, like what's with that white hair on the, what's that? And Luffy's like, oh, that's when I'm free. And you know what clicked with me with that? He is free when he's in that form. Because again, he's free of the structure of what One Piece has been up until this point. He's rubber and stuff. He's got that real cartoony comic book, kids cartoon aspect to him. So he is free, and I think he's free from the constructs of the actual rules that has been set in place by the world of One Piece. And I really liked that little thing. It kind of got me thinking, it is his freedom. He is legitimately broken free from the physics of the One Piece world. So it's kind of cool that Luffy phrases it that way, and that new gear or that new form that he has achieved with Kaido. But yeah, let's get to chapter 1062. Hopefully we find out more about this VegaPunk, Dr. VegaPunk. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. And what's going on with the Egghead Island. Chapter 1062. Okay, where to start? So, the VegaPunk, Dr. VegaPunk, he is such a genius, he is such short-handed, he has split himself into 6 different people. And the Straw Hats had met one that were on the ship, and Luffy and them met another one. On the ship, VegaPunk 2 is talking to VegaPunk 1 on a radio headset. Because VegaPunk 2 is like, I didn't save you, you got a bunch of treasure, I'm gonna steal all this treasure. VegaPunk 1's like, hold on, look at the swordsman, look at the demon child. Look at Nico Robin, look at Zoro. Look at them. They're standing back because Zoro knows he can lay you out. They're already looking to see who to attack first. She's like, I've overlooked this. And it does, I really do like it. Because, they talk about, the smart ones, the battle ones kind of, stand back. And then it's a picture of Frankie and Sanji just, really right in her face. Because Sanji, obviously, thinks she's a beautiful lady, and Frankie is just awestruck by this robot and by the name Dr. VegaPunk because he's a big fan. But Zoro and Nico Robin are ready. And Zoro's like, we got a few demands. Oh! Zoro. That was a good little line. That was a good line. Then we get taken to Luffy, Bonney, Chopper, and Jinbei, and they are on Egghead Island, and they walk into this utopia. It's this futuristic, utopia. Luffy wants to ride a ride and gets swallowed by this dragon thing, but actually everything is kind of fake. You can't touch it, you go right through it. But they run into Dr. VegaPunk 6, Atlas. Young girl, white and red hair, really actually cool design. Reminds me of Yuta from One Piece Film Red, actually, kind of a little bit, just with the hair design. But she tells him, she's a genius, and there's a vending machine. She punches Luffy into the vending machine, makes a burger fry combo. She goes, if you think it's real, if I've done enough to make you think that it's real, it's real. The concept of what's real and what's not is such an old concept here, because I am such a genius, right? It's actually I really like the design of the city. This futuristic design is super striking, man. I really enjoy that. And then we are taken to Lucci. Cyberpole Zero. They got to take Kuma back to the island and destroy, and that's how they explain the VegaPunk is such a genius. He created extra hands of 6 different people to help him out, so they're technically all Dr. VegaPunk. He has split himself into 6 different things. And all that is so cool. It's laying the groundwork for the Dr. VegaPunk, kind of the aesthetic maybe that we're going for the rest of the arc. All that's great. Zoro had that cool moment. Luffy was fun, kind of bouncing around. All the stuff was great. But there's 2 things Bonney said, or Boggy, Boggy. No, Bonney said, it blew my mind. And I don't know if it blew my mind because I forgot, because we know I forget a lot of stuff. Or this is the first time we're learning about this. 1, Bonney met Sabo in, it's been so long since I've said this word. You guys actually left it in the comments how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, I should probably looked it up before I did this video. Mahara? Help me out in the comments. You guys know. Yeah, at this point, We're almost caught up to One Piece. At this point what to do. And she was like, I'm not going to bring that up, not the right time. So she knows something that's going on with Sabo. The second thing, the most important thing, Kuma is Bonnie's dad? Kuma is Bonnie's dad? Listen to this sentence. Kuma, Bonnie's dad. What? Did we ever expect that? I never did. Did I miss that? Am I crazy? What? That makes Bonnie's character so much more interesting with that little tidbit. Oh boy. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Because that makes immediately, Kuma's already been like a super interesting character, and to watch him struggle with his humanity as he turns into a cyborg has been really fun to read, you know? But that one little bit has made Kuma more interesting and Bonney way more interesting. And it does look like Bonnie's gonna kind of be with Luffy, at least in this half of his journey, in this last arc. So with that one line, Oda has made two characters incredibly more interesting and posed so many questions, and I just thought that was genius. Again, if this is the first time we've learned about it, if it's the second time, third time, and I forgot, boy, those are the emotions that I had. I forget. But yeah, they are setting up a really cool thing with Dr. VegaPunk. Lucy's back in there. Kuma is Bonnie's dad. Don't know if you know that. So yeah, let's get to chapter 1063. Chapter 1063. Okay, first off, it's cold outside. I'm just gonna put that out there. I have no water right now, but you know what? I do have One Piece, and that will get me through my pipes being frozen. One Piece will get me through. But no, I hope you guys are having a great holiday. If you celebrate that, if you don't, I just hope you're having a great day. But anyway, chapter 1063. Let's talk about it. One, I really like Luffy, Bonney, Chopper's like futuristic Egg Island suits. They are very cool. I also love that Jinbei was like, good thing they had something like floral. And he's trying to blend in with the tropical environment. Man's got a Hawaiian t-shirt. What legend. Jinbei is a legend. I don't know if I've said that enough. But they run into Kuma. I don't think it's actually the Kuma that we know. I think it's a different Kuma. Maybe it is. Regardless, I really liked how Oda told us that Bonnie's father was Kuma, right? But the Straw Hats didn't know that. So we actually knew something before they did. And you got to experience like Luffy's reaction, which is kind of like my reaction. Like, that's your father? Are you kidding me? That's your dad? And he was real mad because he was shooting lasers out of his mouth and Bonney wouldn't let him punch her father. And actually the artwork when it reminded me of Nico Robin's I Want to Live, like very similar paneling when she's like, don't hurt my daddy, I think, or my father. My daddy, my father, it was one of those. It's very good artwork. So they are dealing with Kuma on the island. But then we go to Law. And Blackbeard is attacking Law. One, we get female Law, and Law is a cool character, regardless of gender, doesn't matter. Great character, great design of the character, you know what I mean? Female Law, dude, yeah. But that is because he has a few people with him, and one of them being Jesus Burgess, which I think the last time we saw him, it was, what arc was that? When he met Sabo, Lucy, he fought with Lucy in like the Coliseum. Oh my gosh. Why am I blanking on that name like right now? Let me know in the comments. I'm blanking on the name of that arc. Fake One Piece fan. Like, what is that? Oh my, that's gonna bother me. Hold on. The Dressrosa arc. How did I forget that? But he has the strong fruit power, and even Law says this. He's like, oh, you guys have been hunting down devil fruit users and taking their powers. Now, I need your help again, because I always need your help. Honestly, I need your help all the time, but that's a whole other thing. Only one person can have one devil fruit power, correct? Someone can't have two, right? That's what I think, but I could 100% be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Like, I could 100% be wrong, but I think only one person can have one devil fruit power. But regardless of all that, it looks like the next chapter, we are getting Blackbeard and Law. I am so ready. Let's get to chapter 1064. Chapter 1064. Okay. All right. Let's go through this calmly. That's the thing, calmly. Law, first off, definitely holds his own against Blackbeard, and that's the thing. They haven't really messed with Blackbeard. I don't think Law has ever messed with Blackbeard, but Luffy and all of them, they have been through so much since the last time Blackbeard really messed with any of them. And that's what Blackbeard says, when can you do this? Because Law re-ruined amputation. And he was like, was this an awakening? Like, dude, they have been through so much, especially with Kaido. Like, obviously, they have gotten more stronger. And it shows, speaking of stronger, rest in peace to the horse. I don't think he made it, you know. He was even, Blackbeard was even like, you're such a good horse, you know, you're just such a good horse. But he is holding his own. And Law makes the connection. He says, oh, well, you know, all your captains have devil fruit powers now. Like all your little subordinates. That means they share the same weakness, which is, as we know, is water. And Law is going to try to sink their ship. But here's the thing, isn't he also there? So does he have a way out of that? Like, does he have his escape plan in motion? But then we go back to Egghead Island, and the rest of the Straw Hats arrive on Egghead Island. But not before we get to see Bonney and Luffy at 70, and I think Chopper is old, and Jinbei is young. Jinbei, I'm gonna be honest with you, I might be the only one. I would watch a kid's version of One Piece, or read a kid's version of One Piece. I would. I'm gonna be honest. Not a long series, but like, you know, like a 5-chapter little side story. I would be very interested in that. That'd be kind of fun. If Oda did kind of like a side story. That's the one thing I was thinking about. I think it would be. I don't need it to happen. I'm just saying I think it would be all right. They are having this conversation. It's such an important conversation for Bonney, and that's why I said a few chapters ago, making Kuma her father was genius. It adds so much more to both of those characters and makes both of those characters so incredibly interesting. It was one of the things I didn't see coming, and one of the things that I think has made the beginning part of this arc so incredibly interesting. Not only that, they are bringing a lot of stuff full circle already, it seems like. You know, because the Straw Hats that have not met with Luffy, they do know that he's on there because the guy's like, listen, your captain's already making a hubbub down there. Their land, you know, their ground is like Sky Island from Skypiea. You see what I mean? I do feel like, and again, maybe that's why Oda let people know this is, you know, the final arc, we're in our final stretch, is because there are a lot of callbacks already in this short amount of chapters of older stuff. And I really hope that this arc continues of just small comebacks. Like, no crazy callbacks, but just little small ones would be super fun throughout this final arc of just oh, of course, you know, oh, of course. While also, and he's doing this too, with Koby, Vivi, and we'll get to the last bit of this chapter in a minute, but bringing in characters from the beginning to kind of this full circle moment in this arc. And I do think Oda is doing those breadcrumbs, because while we know Dr. Vagabond has split himself into 6 different, it's like avatars, like different pieces, different robots, different avatars. Let me know, what do you guys call it down in the comments below? It's avatars, people, robots, humanoids. There's so many we could be. He is speaking to, and this is the final word of the chapter, Dragon. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is this the moment? Is this the moment that Luffy and his father come back face to face? Because technically, I believe they have been face to face before. Luffy did not know he is his father. Am I right in assuming that when he saved him? Right, they have met before? God, am I making that up? Maybe they haven't met before, but they might have met one time. God, listen, we have been cramming through One Piece. I apologize. I thank you guys for hanging out with me and just enjoying my journey of discovering this series. It really means the world to me. But Dragon! He's on the island? Or is he talking to him through a transponder snail? That also could be it. You know what I mean? This is a great beginning start to the final arc of One Piece. Let's get to chapter 1065. Chapter 1065. Also, it's Christmas today. So if you celebrate that, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. If you don't, I hope you're having a good day. But Oda also gave us a gift. He dropped chapter 1070, and I just finished chapter 1065. So the question remains, can I get to chapter 1070 by the end of today and be officially caught up with One Piece? That's my goal. Because also, I still have no water. So all the pipes are frozen. It's very cold outside. That's what I'm saying. The weather outside is frightful, some would say. But no, chapter 1065. What happened in this chapter, right? 2 things. The Straw Hats, you know, minus Luffy, Jinbei, Chopper, run into a Jinbei clone. And he's like a kid. He does fishman karate. And I am guessing Like, at this point, I guess that their whole thing is, do they find out about people and then create robots or humanoids, androids around them, Seraphis? Or do they have to have some type of DNA to make these things, perhaps? Another thing that popped into my head, Frankie already loves, Egghead Island. I think Dr. Vagabond, the multiple Dr. Vagabonds, and we'll get into them here in just a second, because I found something very intriguing about them too. They are going to be so fascinated with him. He's already fascinated with them and like a fan of their stuff, obviously. They are going to be so fascinated by him, because they even say he shot a laser. These tests, they're too young, they're still children. They're not ready for laser tests. I think Frankie is going to play a big part in this Dr. Vagabond arc story that they have going on right now. The second thing, I love that the 6 parts of Vagabond that he has split themselves up into. If one's hungry, the other can eat. If one has to use the restroom, again, I can't use the restroom because I have no water. It's a struggle, man. But we still have One Piece to make the day brighter. But if one has to use the restroom, one of them can use the restroom for them. I think that is so awesome how it literally feels like they have split apart. They're all connected. And I think that makes Dr. Vagabond so interesting. And I thought that was such a clever idea for Oda to do with that character. Also, at the very end, we get to find out that there was a city, an island, 900 years ago, as futuristic as Egghead Island is now. Luffy, Jinbei, Chopper, and Bonney find out about that. I have a feeling that in chapter 1066, they are going to go into 900 years in the past, and we get to find out what that futuristic island was. Okay, it hit 1066. So much information. So much information. We learn about O'Hara. Probably O'Hara, I'd imagine. Which, if you don't remember, Nico Robin's hometown. We also realize that Saul is alive, but I am jumping ahead. We also realize VegaPunk is still alive, but again, I jump ahead. VegaPunk 1 is telling Nico Robin and all of them about O'Hara and how this civilization and the books and the research that, if we remember, Nico Robin's backstory 22 years ago, the Navy and the world government came in and tried to destroy everything. But we also learn that VegaPunk 1 has all of their research in his mind because Saul, well, it's not official, but Nico Robin, you see like this, it's Saul. Listen, it's Saul. Come on. But he has all the information that they had gathered. But that's really, to me, like, very cool, very awesome. He actually takes Nico Robin in the restaurant. He's like, hey, man, come with me. I have something to tell you, right? And that's all well and good. But I think one of the most important moments in One Piece happened in this chapter. And that is, obviously, we get to really figure out why the Revolutionary Army got created by Dragon, Eva, and Kuma, and how they formed the Revolutionary Army. And really kind of the reason, I don't know about you guys, but it makes me root for them all the more. Like maybe, again, they take it to an extreme, but they are trying to get the truth out, I think, about this civilization from 900 years ago. And the world government is trying to suppress them about it. But I think it's more than that. I think it's their mission, and it's been their mission, honestly. We've known about this and stuff, but how the world government sucks. Full on, dude, sucks. Like, if you didn't think they sucked before, but boy, do you have to think it now. But I just really enjoyed that story about, and we get to see what VegaPunk actually looks like, and man, that head. Hey, whoa. That head is something special. And that kind of leads to the last revelation of this chapter, because I just think this chapter was full of so much information that I actually think when you reread this chapter, or, go back and look at it a few times, you're going to learn more stuff about the history of Nico Robin specifically, but also kind of like the world government and everything. I think it's jam-packed with that much information. I think my first read through, you kind of get glances of the bigger picture, but there seems to be so much minute detail about a lot of things in this chapter, and I really enjoyed that. Because the final revelation, Luffy's trying to get the giant robot to go by calling his name, you know, go robot. We actually get to see the real live VegaPunk, and his head is very different. It looks like there's an apple on top of his head, which is a little strange. But yes, that is where we leave off on this chapter, with VegaPunk teaching Luffy and Chopper that their boots that they have can actually float, and that he is actually alive. See, I always thought, you know, he split himself into these 6 things. There's no way that, you know, maybe he had to sacrifice himself to kind of do that. Apparently not. So yeah, Dr. VegaPunk's alive. It's the beginning of this arc, and I already have a ton of questions. Let's get to chapter 1067. Chapter 1067. Okay, we finally get answers about Dr. VegaPunk. And the thing about it is he has the brain fruit. So all of those little creatures, the robots, humanoids that he created, all download every night into his brain. Because his brain, basically the brain fruit power, it is such a cool power. He can have infinite knowledge with no limitations. Put it in perspective, he could remember all of the names of everything. The opposite of me is what I'm saying. If I could have the brain fruit power, that would be great for these videos. You could just immediately be like, oh, do you remember page 3, chapter 12 of One Piece? I do not. Barely remember a lot of things. But he goes more into what happened 900 years ago about the giant iron robot. I want to say iron giant, but giant iron robot that powered up and then powered down. And I believe, and I could have misread this, so let me know, he says that no damage was taken because they had a bigger power source back then. Actually, Vagabond 1 says that to Nami and Sanji, because they're all looking on this, I think, TV screen at Luffy, Chopper, and all of them down there talking to Dr. Vagabond. So we get a bunch of info about kind of Vagabond, how his powers work, a little bit of what's going on with Bonney, and we do find out Dr. VegaPunk actually wants to leave Egghead Island, and he wants Luffy to take him. So we learned this, but we also learned that CP0 on their way to the island. And VegaPunk 1 does not let them in, and he lets everybody know, like, hey, listen, when I do this, it's basically like an act of war. We are refusing docking landing to the world government. But I have a theory, and I know you guys, I know some of you probably thought the same thing, because I think this is what's happening. Well, all this is going on. We cut to the island. Dragon, Iva, they're working on Kuma, trying to get him back. He busts out of there. Let me tell you, he's going to Bonney. They're saying he shouldn't have any free will. I think he's going to save his daughter. This is what I am saying, and I have said it from the beginning of this video. Man, I love that dynamic. I think the storytelling possibilities with those two characters is massive. And that is how we end this chapter of Kuma going, I'm telling you. Could be wrong. I think he's going to save his daughter Bonney. Or going to Egghead Island to save his daughter Bonney. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. That absolutely is what has to be happening. Absolutely has to be happening. Let's get to chapter 1068. Okay, chapter 1068. I have a question. I have a question. CP0 has entered Egghead Island, right? VegaPunk is trying to get off the island because he basically is saying that the energy that the world runs off of is like war and stuff like that. And honestly, I felt like Luffy in this moment of just like, no, when he's like, hey, no interest. He's like, I'm all here for heroes and stuff. But so does he want to use this energy from war into a positive, or does he want to use science to make it tangible so people don't have to fight war over energy? Because he's like, energy is kind of all around us. What I'm saying is he's probably a genius and has like a lot of ideas. He said this like infinite ideas running around his brain. I am very confused. You guys are smarter than me. Like, does he want to use science to where there's no war anymore? Or does he want to use war as a tangible energy source that there's no more energy crisis in the world? Help me out in the comments down below. Thank you. But no, another question that I have, he says, you know, CP0 is on the island. And Luffy's like, don't you mean CP9? He's like, no, this is above. It's said that when they get involved, you know, earth-shattering events. Were some of these characters in CP9? Or was that CP0? Like, was he always in CP0? I'm going to be honest with you, and this is why it's tough to sometimes do these videos without, like, going back and researching, like, literally reading the chapter and then turning on this camera and going. It's getting jumbled in my head. There's a lot of CPs, there's some numbers, and even Luffy is like a pigeon guy, and I am trying my hardest to remember. For some reason in my mind when I was reading this, did none of them die in it? Or are these copies? And the reason I say they're copies is because there's a copy of Kuma, but he has been copied multiple times. Also, Kuma, I told you, he's coming to that island, and he gonna be mad. He is going to be mad when he gets to that island. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good when he gets to that island. And it is kind of exciting to be not that far into this arc, and it does kind of feel like a big battle is coming, you know? But overall, this chapter felt like a lot of information is setting up something, I think, which would be so exciting because it's been a long time. Not really, it's only been like a week or something for me. 2 weeks maybe since we've seen Gear 5, but I'm ready for Luffy. I'm ready to see more Gear 5, and I'm hoping it's against CP0, Lucci, and all them. I'm hoping. Chapter 1069, don't let me down. Like let's get a battle of Gear 5 Luffy. Chapter 1069. Yeah, I said I gotta pace around. Here's the thing. Okay, all right. So did that chapter just change everything about the devil fruits? Because we learned from Dr. VegaPunk, right, that the devil fruits are basically people just wish. They just are created from people's wishes, people that just wish they could do this. And the reason that they can't swim in the water affects them is because Mother Nature doesn't like that, because they are a mythical thing. And he also says, you know, there was never such a thing as the Gum Gum fruit. He looks like Nika the sun god. He looks like a god. So what's Luffy's devil fruit, right? We've already known that his devil fruit, obviously, not what we thought it was. But is this the first official thing of a Gum Gum fruit never existed? And it is also the first time we're hearing about, like, the devil fruits are created from their hopes and dreams. I feel like we have heard that before, but maybe not said in that exact way, and that's maybe why it clicked in my brain a little differently. Because I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I feel like after this chapter, I know this is crazy to say, right? Because there's been so many, especially like the one where he goes Gear 5 for the first time, we learn all this stuff about it, but for some reason I felt like after I got done reading this chapter, rereading chapters of One Piece down the line, it's going to be a chapter like this, and Vegapunk's actual explanation of it, or maybe it's just the way he said it, really changed a lot of how I look at devil fruits and the powers and the people that have it. Because I kind of have a theory. Obviously, people pass, the devil fruit comes back into existence. We have seen it with Ace and Sabo specifically. But now more than ever, I feel like the devil fruit chooses who gets them. I really do feel that way. I don't feel like anyone, I'm talking any devil fruit power, was not just a happenstance, was not just a, you know, so I stumbled and I got this devil fruit power now. I do feel like the fruits themselves might even have kind of, not a mind of its own is probably the wrong word, but it's destiny in a way, who gets what devil fruit. And that really, to me, changes a lot about the core of the devil fruits that we have heard about for so long in the story of One Piece. But that's not it. That's not the only thing. Oh, no. Chapter 1069, no. They have like a baby Mihawk and a few other of the warlords. They built clones of them, I guess. And we also learn about the hierarchy and who the Seraphims listen to the best, which is like the 5 elders, Dr. VegaPunk. I know this name. It's the Axe Guy. You know, the Axe Guy. How Luffy, that's Luffy's name for him. And then the chip controller. And boy, does Lucci take matters into his own hands because his devil fruit has also awakened, first of all, as well. But he takes out the axe guy. That's the last page of this chapter. He handclaw the axe guy. Just gets him. Everyone is shocked. I was shocked. Like, he literally, Lucci is not messing around anymore. Like, no, he is there for it because it is also really drilled into us, right? If Lucci decides to battle Luffy in this island, he is an emperor now. That comes with caveats. They gotta run it up the flagpole and like tell him before he battles. Lucci just kind of like in a way loses his mind and battles Luffy. Luffy goes Gear 5, and as they're battling, they take out the axe guy. Because if you take out the control tower, now they have to listen to him. And yes, it's exciting to see Luffy in Gear 5. You've seen parts of this video. I've been waiting for this, right? And that is exciting. And I think in the last chapter, the final chapter before we are actually caught up, think about that. Think about that. I got one more chapter current. One more chapter, boom, current in it. That's crazy. But while it was exciting to see Luffy in Gear 5, I'm going to be honest with you, really what I locked into was, I really want to know more history on the Devil Fruits. I think that is super interesting. It's always been interesting, but for some reason, the idea, right, that they were created from hopes and dreams and like what people wish, like wishes. They are basically wishes granted in the Devil Fruit form. And kind of like, what was the first one? What was the first Devil Fruit? You know, what's the history of... I would read a book on the history of Devil Fruit, is what I'm saying. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. I think a history of the Devil Fruits would be so interesting to read. But yeah, the battle between Luffy and Lucci is popping off right now. The awakened cat fruit and Luffy's Gear 5. So let's read the final chapter of One Piece before I'm current. It's been a journey.
That's it. We did it. Chapter 1070. I had to sit down for this. You know, there's some things that I want to talk about, not only the chapter, but kind of this journey in general. But let's start with the chapter. It is so fun to watch Luffy bounce around in Gear 5. I think he's like, the way Oda draws him, and he's having so much fun. And what I kind of liked, right? Because we had been led to believe a little bit that he had a pretty good grasp on it. But just like when he spins in that tornado and then he's like, I don't know why, I'm going too fast. It's fun to see that he doesn't have this fully understood. He doesn't understand Gear 5, or even if it really is Gear 5. It is still really, really fun to watch him bounce around and watch him have this incredible strength, and to watch him break the rules of the One Piece world. He like goes giant head and chomps down on the ground. Like, seeing him kind of break these rules of One Piece that we have known since the beginning. If I'm going to read a lot into it, right? That's a really good juxtaposition. Juxtaposition. What a word. Ask me how to spell it. Could not spell it, but here it is. So it's a real word. It exists. Because he is breaking these rules or bending these rules or very cartoony in this world. And we're also at the same time really learning about these devil fruits, because VegaPunk actually goes into Parametheus is this type of fruit, and we have to bond it with their blood, and that's why they have green blood. Technically, with enough time, we could recreate all of these devil fruits, because Frankie mentions like that robot Jinbei has the same as Senor Pink. Is he dead? Does that mean he's dead? He's like, actually, no, he's impaled down. And that's when he goes into, you know, my contribution to the Navy was to do these devil fruit powers. And that's kind of why he wants to get off this island. And kind of, as we definitely see in the final page, that they're sending all of their ships to Egghead Island. Like, he's the smartest man in the universe, the world, or whatever. Wouldn't you be as afraid as the Marines and Navy and the world government are if you thought he was going to turn on you? And see, that's I think the main story, or at least VegaPunk's part in this grand final arc, is kind of being revealed of he is turning on this government because he was designed, and that's the same reason, right, that the 7 warlords were disbanded. Because why would you need the 7 warlords if you have these seraphims that are, 1, a recreation, 2, you know, controlled, has a hierarchy in their control chip, which I have a theory. I think they're going to start breaking their control chips. Like, listen, if you've read enough, you have to be thinking the same thing of like these robots that were created to only take orders, right? Like, I can't be the only one that's like, oh, okay. Like, they're definitely going to break that hierarchy. But Oda is a one-of-a-kind writer, so he could absolutely 100% throw a curveball, no doubt. And Luffy is tasked with protecting VegaPunk. And that is where we leave the Straw Hats. They have gotten together. Lucci has now thrown caution to the wind, and he's hunting them down. And the world government and the Marines are sending all of their battleships to this island. And Luffy has to get Dr. VegaPunk off this island. We are only like 10, 11 chapters into this arc, and the stakes just keep getting higher. And I hope he continues for his swan song arc. I hope he continues diving into this world of One Piece we thought we have known for 1,000+ chapters, and really throwing us for loops. I think that is so fun because he has created a world that has felt so alive that it's believable that he does it. It doesn't seem like, at least to me, it doesn't seem like, well, you're just throwing stuff at walls. A lot of it, not 100%, but 90% of it, if you dig deep enough and look and read into it enough, you can make sense of when he throws curveballs our way as readers and watchers. And I think that's what has separated One Piece almost from the beginning, is that world is breathing and alive, and sometimes it feels like it's making changes, and Oda is just kind of like a just a vessel, and just writing this amazing story. Not to take away from anything, that dude is a genius. So now that we've gone over the most current chapter of One Piece, I don't really, usually I cut this camera off, go read a chapter, and then I turn this camera back on and we talk about it, but I got nothing. I got nothing. You know, I had a weird moment, and I might cut this out, but I had a weird moment when I was packing up the tripod. I have two tripods. I have a tripod that sits on my desk that you're seeing right now, and then a tripod when I do those shots of like me reading and stuff, right? I was kind of folding it up, and I was like, dude, the series is not over, but it felt like an ending. You know, obviously, when there's a new chapter, we make a new video, right? No doubt, we are pod committed to seeing how this One Piece journey ends. And I am so glad, and I say it every video, but this is a special video. Whether you have been from the beginning, like when I uploaded that video over probably a year ago now, or just watched it yesterday and you're caught up to this video, or this is your first video of you seeing me. Hello. Hey. Thanks for hanging out. One Piece is pretty awesome, right? But I really appreciate you coming along on this journey with me. Obviously we're not done, and maybe, you know, you unsubscribe to the channel and stuff. You're like, I just like watching people get up to a certain point, and that's totally fine. I am, hopefully, you know, I was entertaining, you enjoyed yourself, and for those that are sticking around and you know, gonna watch my videos of all the new chapters, I wholeheartedly appreciate you guys too. Like, doing this series, I am so glad I took the plunge and did not let the length of One Piece get to me. It is such a daunting task, but now that we are here at the finish line, it seemed like it was so short. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you guys hanging out and enjoying the videos. I love making them, and I'm a little sad because even though it sounds super dumb, I always felt like I had an infinite amount of chapters of One Piece to read. Come to find out, there was 1,070. So, man, snuck up on me. But I am definitely sad that this arc in our One Piece journey together has finished. And now the new arc, the arc of waiting, the arc of waiting. I should have slowed down. I should not have crushed through One Piece like this. This was a mistake. We're going back. Volume 2. Let's go to Volume 2. We got to go back. Go back. But in all sincerity, I did not think when I made that first video that, one, I would actually continue making the videos, and commit like I have, and to enjoy it and become such a like. Look at me. Look at this disease that has happened to me. You know, I never thought I would fall in love with it like I did, and become such a big fan. Not that it. Nah, hey, listen. Like I try not to be. I definitely have like kind of rose-colored glasses with it, but I try not to be so like it's perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world, but the enjoyment that I have gotten from catching up with this amazing work of fiction was perfect. But I don't know. I don't really know how to end this video. Like I said, I'm feeling a little melancholy, you know, a little wild that I am actually caught up to this series, and really grateful that people cared enough to watch it, you know, and really grateful for each and every one of you guys that hang out with me, because I think in general in manga or in any hobby, it is so fun to talk with you guys, and you guys tell me stuff, and I share my experiences going through a series that you guys really love and I really love, and there's nothing like it. That's the whole reason of getting into any hobby. I'm just really appreciative, and I thank you guys for hanging out with me, and hopefully you will continue to hang out with me as we go through One Piece chapter by chapter. What about a break week? I haven't experienced break. What are break weeks like? You know, I haven't experienced them personally. Not looking forward to it, but we can get through it, right? Together, we can do this. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna dawn on me until like tomorrow when I go to read a chapter of One Piece and don't have a chapter of One Piece to read, and then I will be super sad by myself with not a camera on me. But yes, as always, thank you guys for watching, especially to the end of the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I have really enjoyed making it. So as always, I hope if you're having a bad day, it gets better. And if you're having a good day, it becomes fantastic. Like One Piece. I'll see you next time.